You, I know in school you fell in love with theater. How did you do that?
Well, it kind of started at First Baptist Church when I was in 6th grade, and they did a play, and I'll never forget it. It was called The Hallelujah Christmas Cruise, and Susan Cook directed, and I remember going into that audition, and I really wanted the part of Aunt Tilly. She was eccentric, and she reminded me of my great-grandmother, who I based her after, and I remember going in and saying I wanted to read for that, and she said, "Are you sure you want to read for that? Everyone wants to be that part," and I said, I'm sure that's what I want to read for. And then I got the part, and it was so much fun. And like I said, I modeled it after my great grandmother. She was this over the top, and I still remember the lines. It was one of those things that sets in your mind. And when the play was over, I remember going home because it was just a church production, and we did it one night, and I cried for over an hour. And I told Mom, I said, why am I crying? I don't know why. I don't want to let it go. I don't want it to be over. And she looked at me and says, well, maybe you should be an actress when you grow up. And I'm sure she's regretted that several times since then. So then the bug hit, and Dot Pelton, who is a community legend here, my mom used to play bunco with her, and she's telling her, because she knows Dot does theater, she goes, I don't know what I'm going to do with my daughter. She's heartbroken over this. And Dot tells her they're talking about doing a children's theater workshop at Main Street. I'll let you know when it is. And so she did. She called my mom, and Mark Tenniswood, my dear friend, was directing that that very first children's theater workshop. And I walked in, and I was very shy. I know y'all don't believe it. Nobody does. But I'm shy with people I don't know. I'm very introverted. And I got like a little part in the chorus. I didn't have anything. And a girl ended up quitting, and I really wanted to be the grandmother because she sang, and I wanted to sing. And my mom, in great fashion, because she's not a stage mom, she goes, well, if you want it, you're going to have to go tell him you want it. I'm not going and asking him if you can sing it. And so Mark told me for years about this little shy girl that wouldn't say anything at class, and I went up and pulled on his shirt, and I said, can I sing for the grandmother? And then I sang it, and I sang it well, and he said, well, if she had enough gumption to come up and ask me if she could do it, she probably has enough gumption to do it. And Mark and I were kind of history from that point, because we took off and did a bunch of things over the years when I was in high school, and that's kind of where it started. And then it was just finding opportunities wherever I could.
And you have found some opportunities and taken them. Silver Springs High School drama, you were in Don Doyle? Yes.
Don Doyle is one of those that is responsible for me in whatever way, in good or bad, because she trained me. We did Wizard of Oz and all these things, and she really challenged me to get outside of the box, and that was something that I needed. She always tried to throw things at me. I was very much the little innocent, sweet girl, and I remember going into an audition and her saying, nope, you're not going to read for Al unless you go out and find another character. I'm not going to cast you as that. And so she wanted me to find something, and I came back as the Red Queen, and it was good because I needed something that took me outside of where I thought my genre was. And she constantly threw things at me that were completely outside my comfort zone, and she threw Shakespeare at me and things like that, which we were so blessed, and we still are, with the program that we have here in Sulphur Springs. It is a thriving fine arts program. And when I went to college, I remember 3 of my professors knew who my teacher was just by the way I acted, and that was a big eye-opener because I knew Miss Doyle was, she was everything to me at that point, but I didn't know how much everything she was to other people around the state of Texas, and that people would look at me and say, yeah, you're a Don Doyle student, I can tell. But you were ahead of the game when you went to college. There were some people just starting theater and getting to learn stage directions, and I had a good solid basis in such a variety of theater. We'd done musicals, and we'd done Shakespeare, and we'd done Arthur Miller, and it gave me that great basis that I could get in at college and get cast in a lot of things.
And I saw you in a musical, Ruby Rose Rides Again.
Oh my gracious.
Over at Texas A&M Commerce.
That's one of my favorite things I've ever done. So Jim Tyler Anderson, he was actually the first show I ever did in college was a show he wrote, and I got cast in it after someone had dropped out, and the professor came and pulled me in because Jim had liked me at the audition, even though I was a freshman, and it was all seniors and grad students. And he kept telling me the whole time I was through college, he goes, I'm writing another show, and I'm writing a part in there for you. And he kept telling me that there's this part, that it was written for me, and that he was doing different things, and he was designing it for me to do it. And so my senior year of college, they actually did it, and I got to do it with Ann Bomar, who was Miss Doyle's teacher. Okay. And then she was my teacher, and I adored her about like Dawn did. And
I think Lou Ann Petty was in
Lou Ann Petty was in it too. And so it was the three of us. It was Ann Bomar was the older Ruby Rose, and then there was Lou Ann was Iris, and then I was Rosanna. And so we all three got to sing together, and we got to really collaborate on that music. We got to go over and record a CD, and that's still one of the coolest things I think I've ever done in my life, was to go into a recording studio and actually record. And beautiful music and such a heartwarming story. I think about it all the time. So,
well, you were still grounded in Sulphur Springs because of your family, even when you were off at school, college, training, experimenting in various places.
Yes, so my family's here, and they are my lifeline. I can't do anything without my family. My mom is so integral to everything that I do. I can't do anything without my mom. I don't know. I pray all the time that nothing will ever happen to her, because I don't know what I would do without her to help me and to be there. Even when I'm going to auditions, I still call her and I ask her. I need her to tick me off before I go to an audition, because if I'm not in that kind of a mode, sometimes the audition doesn't go well. I have to be in that mood where I have to prove something to her sometimes to do it. So if I'm singing certain songs, I'll call her and I'll say, I need you to enrage me, like the movie Tootsie. I need you to enrage me before I go into this audition so I can sing this song.
See, she can do anything, your mom can.
She can. So, I mean, she sews costumes, she builds sets, she does anything I ask of her pretty much.
She's your total support in everything that you undertake, and you just kind of tell her, okay, Mom, we're doing this, such as currently in Beauty and the Beast, when you added the junior cast show, there was a whole nother set of costumes.
Yes,
and
she used to remind me. She just keep me grounded. She's like, you remember why junior cast shows stress us out? It's the costumes, right? And I'm like, I know, but they're so good. They're so good. They need a chance. And she goes with it. She rolls with it. I mean, she's been up there for the past week and a half. I mean, round the clock, building sets, and just, I need you to hold a paintbrush. Okay.
And she's busy, sort of in a Disney profession herself.
Yeah, so she's a Disney travel vacation planner, so she's certified through them, and she does that like around the clock. She also runs my grandfather's rental business out of Texarkana. She also works for the Department of Human Services doing monitoring daycare homes, and she substitute teaches at the school. So I mean, how she finds time to do everything she does, I don't know. So that's where I learned to multitask.
Well, back home you have brothers, and your youngest is now graduated Sulphur Springs High School.
Yes.
And we know Josh.
Yes. So I had three brothers. I have one that's a mechanical engineer. I have one that's a psychologist. And then I have my mini-me, which is Josh, who looks just like me. And he's 14 years younger than me. And so he's kind of grown up. He went to his first show when he was 6 months old. And, you know, he's gone to theater. He sat through a bunch of shows. And then when it was time, he was ready to do it. He wanted to get on stage. And man, y'all, he's talented. I mean,
he is.
Sometimes it makes me sick how talented he is, because he doesn't have to try as hard. And sometimes I just want to just whap him upside the head and say, if you would just give me twice the effort, there's no stopping you, because he's a boy. And boys, it's a lot easier for a boy to have a career than a girl, because boys are just rare that are tall and that are built and masculine like him, and that can sing, and he can tap dance, and he can act, and pretty much he makes me sick, and I'm jealous about him.
Well, he's kind of with you now in a repertory theater that you're working through.
Yes. So before I had my kids, I had started after college. I kind of branched out, and I did some work with Repertory Company Theater. I used to tour and do melodramas around Denton and Dallas, and then I had worked at Casa Manana, and then I had kids. And so it was we moved home to have our kids. We wanted them to be born here in Sulphur Springs around family. And then I took some time off. And so when I was bored, that's when Shining Star came about.
Oh,
and then after, I guess it was about 3 years ago now, I missed being on stage. Being on stage where I didn't have to direct myself or be helming the production. It's a different thing. I liked for people to boss me around. I know it seems like I run the show, but I really like to go, and for someone, it's very soothing to me to go into rehearsal and have a script and to have done my work ahead of time, and then someone tell me what to do, and to not have to worry about anything besides my acting choices, for them to tell me where to go and me not have to worry about the tech or the costumes.
Right.
It's a therapeutic thing to me. And so I worked with Rep before, and every year they would just send me the email when they had their auditions. You know, I know you've had kids, I know they're twins, I know what you're going through, but if you ever want to come back, we're here.
Okay.
And so one year I responded, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to. And I did. And so I came back, and I had to get back into shape the way I used to do with dancing and stuff, because doing other people's choreography is different than doing my own choreography.
And so you've just finished Singing in the Rain?
Yeah. So we just finished Singing in the Rain, which was great. It was something different for me. I usually, when I'm over there, I have like the big singing roles. I have like Grisabelle and Cats, and they give me the things that are the big singers. And so when they called me to do this, I was like, oh my gracious, that's so perfect to get to be funny, because I'm funny, and I know I'm funny, but
you don't get to do that often.
I don't get to do it very
But
often.
with the character of Lena, you did.
Oh, it was so much fun. I had so much fun just getting to do things that are different, and it was great stress to not have to sing well, to know that if I got sick that I was still going to be okay.
Lena has got a very irritating voice, and so
Yes.
she's a star in silent pictures, and so they experiment with sound. So give us a little bit of Lena.
What's wrong with the way I talk? Am I dumb or something? So it's a little raspy today. I've been in the Civic Center for a week, so I've got all that dust down there. But it was fun, and all my friends over there, they were so excited to get to see me do something different, because they'd seen me do a little squeaky voice. I had a little bit part in a show I was stage managing last year, and I think that's where they kind of knew I could do it from. And I was excited because I didn't know till after I was cast that the musical is a little bit different than the movie, and I got a song, and so I got to sing, and so it was like a Lucy Ricardo moment for me to get to use, and it's a lot harder than it looks. You don't realize, because to do a funny voice, just to do it, you can throw on a funny voice, but to sustain it for the whole show, and then to sing through it. And I remember the first week that we ran the whole show, and it wasn't just pieces of scenes, and I thought, my voice is so sore. And I was like, I haven't been training it in this way, because I've been training it with this big low round tones I do when I'm singing. And so I had to start like doing a lot of higher pitched stuff in my vocal warm-ups and things to practice sustaining it. And I had to find times that I could kind of come in and out of it where it wasn't as noticeable. So when Lena was on stage in the movie, I tried to throw it up into a different register and pull back on the harshness, but pull it up into that high like she was doing in affectation, so that I could have times in there that my voice could rest a little bit, especially as I was building up to it. By the time we got to the regular show, I could sustain it, but it's a lot harder to sing badly than you would think, because you have to do it in just that certain way that it's pleasing enough to the audience that they don't hate you and want to leave, but it's still grating enough that you're annoying as a character. And my favorite thing was coming through the line was all the patrons would come, and the ones that didn't know me, they would come up, now tell me how you really talk. And so I messed with a couple of them, and I'd say, this is my voice, and then they would laugh, and then I would say, no, I'm really from East Texas, so I've got this little twang.
We remember you from Hopkins County Dairy Festival.
Yes, I love Dairy
in
Festival.
high school, and you had an opportunity to do lots of things, but now what you love to do is give that opportunity to others with your own production company.
Yes, so Shining Star Productions started in 2009, like I said, a little bit out of boredom when I was coming home. I was getting ready to have my kids, and we did a small production. Didn't have a venue, didn't have anything, and Joe McCorkle, who's like my little theater daddy is what I call him, who raised me and taught me how to use power tools and at the theater and things. He let us use Main Street Theater for a production of James and the Giant Peach. We had all of 7 kids. We barely made ends meet, and that peach was made out of like, I don't know, PVC pipe and like tarps, and I don't even remember. It was insane trying to do it because we had no budget. We had nothing. We had 7 students brought in as far as tuition, which was not much, but somehow we pulled together and made it work. And those parents came, and they loved it, surprisingly, because I was so worried that it wasn't going to be as big as I thought it was, but it was magical for those kids. And so then I was very big pregnant with twins when we were doing Beauty and the Beast, and so I didn't do a show that fall, but Miss Doyle let me bring my Shining Star students to be in Beauty and the Beast. And the cool thing about that is that Josh and Monica and Sarah, they were all in that Beauty and the Beast that the high school did, and so now they've come full circle and they're doing it. But we grew, and then I was doing middle school one-act play, and that helped feed kids into Shining Star, and we had taken a little bit of a break after I had my kids just because, physical limitations and things. And I got asked to do the children's workshop at Main Street. And at the time, they weren't sure if they were going to continue their children's program. And so I talked to Joe at that point, and I said, these kids want to continue with me. Is it going to be any kind of a conflict of interest if I, start Shining Star again and I take these kids? And he was very encouraging to me. He's always encouraged me to follow my dreams and things. And so we took off, and we started rehearsing at the Artist Center of Performing Arts, which is still where we house our rehearsals. And we did Wizard of Oz, and we had 19. And just over the years, we've grown. We've done The Flight with Peter Pan and Tarzan, and now we're up to 51. And 51. I'm like, and it blows my mind. And some of those are adults, but most of those are kids. I think we have 6 adults in the entire show. So
you have some newcomers. You have some youngsters who are busy honing their careers already.
Yes. So, we've got my younger cast, Dea Williams. She's phenomenal. She does film things, and she works with the Empowered dance group. She works with the Miss Texas organization and does Lone Star Princess and goes and sings places. JC is Dairy Festival Queen, and of course she's fabulous. I wish she could sing just a little bit. She's so phenomenal.
She's got a big voice.
She is, and I've so enjoyed getting to work with her. We worked on Dairy Festival and then to work on this. It was a very natural fit. And then Josh, so my brother now he has come over and he's working at Rep with me, getting that kind of on the job training the way I did when I first started. When you chorus work, and I tell the kids all the time that the chorus is the backbone of the show. It's the hardest part in the show. The leads are not the hardest part. The leads get all the glory. The chorus does all the work. And I still like to do chorus work. I still try and say yes anytime I can to an ensemble show if it works into my schedule, because you learn so much more there. You really do, because you have to do everything. You're dancing, you're singing, you're carrying, you're doing all the costume changes. If the chorus is not strong, the show is weak. And so I'm so proud for him that he's kind of gotten the opportunity to go over and do some things there and to hone his craft, because that's how you do it. The more you do, the more you learn, and he has a big career ahead of him. He's just, the more training he gets. His Gaston, I think, is better this year than it would have been at the start of the year because of the work he's been doing. And every little thing, you don't realize how all the little shows here and there, they play into who you become as an artist.
Right. Even in your younger life, as one of your students mentioned this morning, she had done ballet as a young child. Well, she was able to pull that back in for her role. Yeah. And so Josh is Gaston in the current production of Beauty and the Beast.
And he's phenomenal. Gosh, he's so good. And not just because he's my brother, he really is good.
And this is an over-the-top Disney production.
Yes. So it's huge. We've got the huge backdrops. We've got 4 backdrops that we've had people in the community have underwritten for us, which has been a huge help. Thank you to all those people. It takes a village. It really does. Michael Branch, who does a lot of film, and he's done a lot of set designs and things when he was up in Nashville. He's built this amazing, this marble-looking staircase, and we have this stonework that's all hand-carved and painted. Bells, just the details on this set, they're so. I just go in and he's like, "Is this okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's totally okay. That's fabulous. It's more than I could have ever hoped for." The lighting design and stuff that Mike and Desi have done is just amazing. The tracks sound great. The kids sound great. Choreography's okay, I guess. I recycled some of it.
We've found out who Belle is and who Gaston is. Who is the Beast?
Oh, so Brandon Edwards, my dear friend, is the Beast, and he grew up here. He did theater with Sulphur Springs High School. He was my brother Ryan's age, and then he went off and he's done theater. He worked at Zach in Austin and did some stock theater and stuff there, and then he moved home after college to be here, and he was working at Hampton Inn for a while. And we had an open audition for a show over at Rep, and they were looking for someone, and I put Brandon up for it, and I sent him over, and I kind of had to needle him to go, and now he's a fixture at Rep too, so he's in almost every show too. We did, he and I and our friend Jordan did every show there last year except for Steel Magnolias. We did every other show for the whole season, so we called it the Streak. And I don't think any of us want to repeat the Streak, because the Streak was a lot of stress, and because it was, we said at the beginning of the year, Brandon and I made a pact that we were going to say yes to everything, because we wanted to just do everything that year to get more under our belts, and it was great. So he's our Beast, and his voice is just like melted butter.
Cannot wait to see it. It is this weekend, Beauty and the Beast, August 11th through 13th.
Yes, it
of
is.
2017, right
Yes.
here in Sulphur Springs. And so once you put this to bed, what will you do for the rest of the summer, and what? Because I know you have children. We've talked about those children. Tell us about those children and your husband.
Okay, so I've been married to my husband actually 10 years last week. So
Okay.
we celebrated our
Congratulations.
anniversary by building a set. We kind of do that every year. And then I have twin boys. I was pregnant with them when Shining Star started, and while I was doing Beauty and the Beast for Miss Doyle while I was choreographing. They're 7 now. They just turned 7. And they're the joy of my life. You know, they've taught me so much.
Matthew and Aaron? Is
Yes,
that right?
Matthew and Aaron are their names. They have just taught me so much about how people grow. And my son Aaron has autism. I know I was telling you this before the interview. And watching them, and Matthew come from, you know, he was a delayed learner. Watching them overcome things, it's given me like this new fire when I go into things, because you look at things through a different lens when you have kids. You do. You look at any child you encounter a little bit differently, and especially when you have a child with special needs. Any child you encounter, you look at them a little differently, and you look for other situations. And watching Aaron overcome, I'm so happy. Aaron is in Beauty and the Beast, and that's a huge thing for me, because Matthew has been doing theater with me for a year, and I joke because before they were born, I knew they were going to be like the next winners of So You Think You Can Dance, and they're not. I love my children. Matthew's been taking tap from me for a year, and he pretty much stands and sways, and his feet barely move, but it gives me a joy to see him, to see from where he's come that he can do that. And Aaron, my husband's doing Beauty and the Beast so that Aaron can do it, because Aaron can't do it on his own. And he's been a very great sport, because he has to wear a dish costume. And he's like, seriously? I said, yeah, because Aaron's a dish and I need you to be there. And so they walk out and they walk through the crowd scene, and then they're a wolf, and then they run on in the fight. And then in Be Our Guest, they come out and they kind of sway back and forth, and he sits on Lance's feet so that he can do and on his own, because he can't attend and stand there on his own. He's just not at that stage yet. He's going to get there, but he's not there yet. And he's had a lot of fun with it. And there's some days that he can't do it, that on those days we just say, okay, we call it a wash and we let him go home. But on the days he can, he has such joy, because the lights are on, and he's gone to Disney for years with us, and he loves Disney World. It's always been a therapeutic thing to him. He always comes back with more skills. And so he watches Beauty and the Beast at Disney World, and so it gives him, he lights up. The first day we did it with some lighting and on the stage with the music, I could just see this joy hit Aaron's face, because it was a moment of understanding for him that, oh, this is why we've been at the studio, because he doesn't understand that part until he's done it. And he's got emerging speech right now, and the doctors didn't think he was going to be able to speak. And literally about 2 weeks after they said they were ready to classify him as nonverbal, he then started speaking in some sentences, and they're still garbled and they sound like baby talk, and sometimes I'm the only one that can understand them, but I know what he's saying. And so eventually he will get there. So I always tell people that he was named after Aaron in the Bible, who was a great speaker and who spoke for his brother, and that's always kind of been God's assurance to me that he would speak. Now, I don't know what that speech is going to look like. I don't know if it will be that he's a great orator and can speak in perfect tones or if he will use an iPad to communicate or what that will mean. But I do know that that little boy is a walking miracle, and he is a walking testament to how wonderful the therapy services are here in Sulphur Springs, and to all the people in his family and our close friends that love and have surrounded him with love. And Matthew, his brother, I always feel like I leave him out. Matthew is a walking miracle because Matthew was the same way. Matthew was nonverbal, and now you can't hardly tell. You can't get Matthew to be quiet now. So I have trouble backstage keeping him quiet. I'm like, shh, we can't talk. We can't play pretend right now. So, but it's a miracle,
wonderful.
and you don't get tired of hearing that.
Well, so you and your husband, 10 years now, and so probably I'm thinking maybe you dream maybe of that little daughter. Maybe
Yes.
you will.
At some point, yes. So that's what we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with that. We both have dreams of a little redheaded girl, so with little curls. And I dream personally of taking her to Disney World and her being a Disney princess, because that's always been my life's dream, is to be a Disney princess. So that's why Disney calls to me so much.
Well, when this show is over and you have your summer finished, what will you do, and where do you think you're headed? And we're glad that you live in Sulphur Springs. We hope you always do, but where do you think you're headed?
Well, wherever God takes me. So I know right after this closes, 2 days after Beauty and the Beast closes, I start rehearsals for To Kill a Mockingbird in Richardson. And then after that, I have a couple projects pending that I haven't fully committed to, because I'm trying to figure out what my vacation's going to be like. I'm trying to take a vacation around Christmas time this year. But there are things on the horizon there. I'm doing a little more with the office side of over there. I've been helping with box office, and I helped them direct a few things last year in their children's program, and so that's always waiting for me if I make the jump over there. But I kind of like Sulphur Springs too, so I don't know where that'll be. And as far as what's coming next for Sulphur Springs with Shining Star, I'll go ahead and tell y'all it'll be announced at the show this weekend, but y'all get the first sneak peek. Our next show is Mary Poppins. I know, and I'm so excited about it. The kids don't know. So shh, if you see the kids. But we're doing Mary Poppins, and I'm really thrilled about that. Johnny Wells told me a couple years back when I was doing one act play, he said, I always love seeing what you're going to pick for a show, because you don't generally look at your people. You always think, what do you want to direct? And whatever you want to direct, that's what you pick, and then you find the people. And that's kind of how I'm with Mary Poppins. I want to direct Mary Poppins, and I'm going to trust that all the pieces are there. That's kind of how I did with Beauty and the Beast, and it has worked out fabulously. And I'm inspired. I want to direct Mary Poppins. I love the show. I love the music. I love the stage version. So it's going to be a great time, and the kids are going to be so excited.
Well, we're excited too, and thank you for sharing that little secret with us.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing your gift that somehow you came in this world with, and you don't keep it to yourself. You sure don't keep it hidden under a bushel basket or whatever the saying is, but you let it shine for the world.
Well, thank you all for supporting us. We could not, seriously, without this community, and Desi Ferris and I were talking about this the other day, this community is something special, and it's why people come and they stay, and it's why it's hard to leave. It is a thriving arts community, and I'm so excited. My friends from Richardson are coming to see Beauty and the Beast, and that's the first show they're coming to see that I've done here, and that is exciting for me, because I tell them what we do here, and when you hear children's theater, there's a certain thought process that goes with children's theater, and I'm like, you really don't understand what we have here. We have such a wonderful community. We have the support and the people. If y'all don't come see shows, we can't do shows. So if you love seeing shows, get out and come and support us, and come support all of the local organizations, Choral Society, Main Street Theater, everyone. It's a community effort here, and it takes a village, and y'all are a great village.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.